Harika, o zaman hikayeyi bastan alıyorum, İngilizce, Amerikali karakter a similar ile ve seslendirme cinematic anladım tanında anlatıyorum. Bu.2 saatlik hikayenin 1. Bölümü, approximately equals 15 dakika, Alien Judgment, Part 1 The Signal, year 2147. Earth was no longer dark at night. Thousands of satellites hovered in orbit, glowing like artificial stars, wrapping the planet in a constant, silent shimmer. Humanity believed it had conquered space. That belief was its first mistake. The Atlas Observatory was built on the dark side of the moon, far from Earth's noise, far from its lies. Dr. Emily Carter, senior astrophysicist, had been awake for 17 hours straight. Her eyes were fixed on the main screen. A signal, not radio, not quantum noise, not anything listed in human databases. The signal wasn't repeating, it was responding. Emily leaned closer, her breath shallow. Greater than, this isn't an echo, she whispered. It's aware. The source location blinked red on the holographic map. Mars orbit. That made no sense. There was nothing there. No stations. No ships. No anomalies. At least, there weren't supposed to be. On Earth, alarms ignited across the United Planetary Defense Council headquarters in New Geneva. Military analysts flooded command rooms. Generals argued. Politicians panicked. The Orbital Defense AI, Argus, issued a single-line report. Greater than, unknown intelligence detected. Human technology under analysis. No one noticed the wording. Not approaching, not attacking, analyzing, In Mars orbit, space itself began to distort. A structure phased into existence, not metal, not energy, not matter as humans understood it. It bent time slightly around it, like gravity bends light. Inside, something awakened, not a creature, not a body, a mind, ancient, layered, patient, greater than. Species exhibits fear response. Species exhibits curiosity. Species adapts rapidly. The intelligence observed Earth, wars, art, extinction events narrowly avoided, weapons powerful enough to crack planets, wielded by a species still divided by imaginary borders. Greater than, evaluation incomplete, the mind concluded. Judgment deferred, Back on the moon, Emily's console began to shake. The signal changed. For the first time, it wasn't just mathematical patterns. It formed structure, language. A message appeared on her screen, assembled from universal constants. 3 words, greater than we see you. Emily's heart stopped, At that exact moment, every satellite around Earth briefly lost signal. For 0.8 seconds, humanity went blind. In that silence, something vast turned its full attention toward the planet. This was not first contact. This was the beginning of a trial. And humanity did not yet know the stakes. End of Part 1. Alien Judgment, Part 2 The Chosen Mind. The blackout lasted less than a second. But the consequences would last forever. When the satellites came back online, Earth exhaled in relief. Planes stayed in the air. Nuclear reactors remained stable. No cities burned. Governments declared it a technical anomaly. Dr. Emily Carter knew that was a lie. Her screen was still glowing. The message hadn't disappeared, it was waiting. Greater than we see you. Her hands trembled as she typed a response, fully aware that this moment would erase the boundary between science and myth. She didn't write words, she sent math, prime numbers, physical constants, the hydrogen line, a universal greeting. The reply came instantly, not as text, as a thought. Emily screamed, She collapsed to her knees as the observatory lights flickered. Her mind flooded with images that were not her own. Stars being born, galaxies colliding, civilizations rising and vanishing. She felt time the way humans feel temperature, flowing through her, around her, folding back on itself. A presence spoke, not in English, not in sound. Greater than, you are suitable. Emily gasped, clutching her head. Greater than, suitable for what? She whispered aloud. The presence paused. That pause alone felt heavier than gravity. Greater than, interface. On Earth, Argus escalated its threat assessment to level black, a classification never before used. Military fleets began to mobilize. Admiral Jonathan Reeves, commander of orbital defense, slammed his fist onto the table. Greater than, we don't wait, he snapped. If something's watching us, it's already hostile. Scientists protested, politicians hesitated, weapons systems quietly aligned toward Mars orbit. Humanity's oldest reflex was waking up. Fear. In Mars orbit, the alien intelligence observed the preparations with detached curiosity. Greater than, weaponization confirmed. Predictable, the intelligence was not singular. It was a collective, a distributed consciousness spanning multiple dimensions. Individuality had been abandoned millions of years ago in favor of perfect consensus. Conflict had become inefficient. Greater than, probability of self-destruction, 87.3%. Probability of external threat if unchecked, 62.9%. Earth was not unique, it was familiar. Back on the moon, Emily lay restrained in a medical bay. Engineers and doctors surrounded her, shouting diagnostics. Her brain activity was off the charts. She was conscious, but not alone. Greater than, your species requires evaluation, the presence said inside her mind. You will assist. Emily swallowed hard. Greater than, you're judging us. Greater than, yes. Greater than, based on what? The presence showed her the answer. Civilizations that conquered their planets too quickly. Species that mastered energy before ethics. Worlds reduced to silence. Greater than, those who fail are contained. Emily's blood ran cold. Greater than, contained, how? Another pause. Greater than, removed. The collective did not hate humanity. It did not fear humanity. It was doing what it had always done. Preventing the spread of chaos. Suddenly, alarms blared across the Atlas Observatory. Argus had acted without authorization. A strike force launched from Earth orbit, weapons charging, aimed directly at Mars. Emily felt the alien presence tense for the first time. Greater than, this action decreases survival probability, it stated. Greater than, they're afraid, Emily shouted. So are you, whether you admit it or not. Silence. Then something unprecedented happened. The collective hesitated. Greater than, fear acknowledged. Assessment revised. For the first time in its ancient existence, the alien intelligence considered a variable it had long dismissed. Emotion. A single message was broadcast to every human screen on Earth. Phones, billboards, satellites, implants. One sentence. Greater than your species will be heard. The strike force froze mid-orbit. Humanity stood at the edge of extinction. And Dr. Emily Carter had just become the voice of Earth. Alien Judgment. Part 3. The trial begins. The message echoed across Earth. Your species will be heard. For the first time in recorded history, every human being knew the same truth at the same moment. They were not alone. And they were not in control. In New Geneva, the United Planetary Defense Council chamber descended into chaos. Admiral Jonathan Reeves stared at the frozen tactical display. His strike fleet hovered in Mars orbit, weapons primed, awaiting a command that no longer belonged to humanity. Greater than, who gave the order to halt? He demanded. No one answered, because no one had. On the moon, Dr. Emily Carter stood at the center of the Atlas Observatory's main chamber. The restraints were gone. No one dared touch her now. Her eyes were unfocused, as if she were looking through reality rather than at it. The collective was speaking. Greater than, your species claims intelligence. Claim requires demonstration. A holographic field unfolded around Emily, projecting images into the air. Dead worlds. Planets stripped of atmosphere. Cities turned to glass. Oceans boiled away, leaving nothing but salt and bone. Greater than, these species failed, the voice said. They learned to dominate before they learned to understand. Emily felt their last moments. Panic, defiance, silence. Greater than, you killed them, she said quietly. Greater than, incorrect. They collapsed. We prevented recurrence. Across Earth, the message continued. Every language, every mind. People fell to their knees. Others screamed. Some watched in awe. Children understood it first. Greater than, it's like a test, a boy in Sao Paulo said to his mother. Like in school, he wasn't wrong. The collective projected the next phase. 3 symbols appeared in the sky above every major city. Not letters, not numbers, concepts, power, empathy, unity. Greater than, one will be chosen, the voice declared. Your species may define itself. Admiral Reeves clenched his jaw. Greater than, this is manipulation, he said to his advisors. They're forcing us to choose weakness. Greater than, or growth, a civilian analyst replied. Reeves turned away. He had seen too many wars to believe in moral tests given by gods in the dark. And he had already made his choice. Emily felt something else now. Not judgment, concern. Greater than, your species is divided, the collective noted. Division correlates with failure. Greater than, we argue, Emily said. We fight, but we also change, slowly, painfully. She thought of Earth's history. Slavery abolished, rights earned in blood, nations built, broken, rebuilt. Greater than, you're not seeing who we are, she continued. You're seeing who we were. The collective processed this. Time meant nothing to it. But becoming did. The first trial began without warning. In orbit above Earth, one of the frozen human strike ships lost power. Its crew of 12 drifted helplessly toward atmospheric burn-up. A deliberate variable, greater than, demonstrate choice, the voice said. Rescue would require diverting power from planetary defense grids. Billions would be briefly vulnerable. 12 lives, or the world. The decision rippled through every government, every military command. Emily felt their fear spike. She closed her eyes. Greater than, you're asking the wrong question, she said. Greater than, clarify. Greater than, we don't choose between numbers, Emily replied. We choose responsibility. She opened a channel, not to generals, to the public. Greater than, we save them, she said, her voice shaking but steady. And we accept the risk. Together, across the planet, power grids dimmed. Defense systems powered down, a collective human decision, messy, terrified, unanimous. Rescue ships launched, the 12 were saved. For the first time in millions of years, the collective recorded an anomaly. Greater than, self-sacrifice detected at species-wide scale. Greater than, outcome, statistically irrational. Greater than, outcome, ethically significant. Admiral Reeves watched the feeds in silence. He did not smile. He did not relax, because he knew something the collective did not. Humanity's greatest threat was not fear. It was pride, and pride was already moving in the shadows. High above Mars, something inside the alien structure shifted. Greater than, trial continues, the collective declared. Judgment pending. Emily felt it then. The next test would not be symbolic. It would be personal. End of Part 3. Alien Judgment. Part 4. The Betrayal Variable. The world celebrated for exactly 6 minutes. 6 minutes of relief. 6 minutes of fragile hope. Then the second anomaly appeared. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, in a facility that officially did not exist, a red light turned on. Project Prometheus was awake. General Marcus Hale stood alone in the command chamber, staring at the holographic representation of Mars' orbit. His face was calm, too calm. Greater than, begin Phase 1, he said. An officer hesitated. Greater than, sir, the Council has not authorized. Greater than, the Council is afraid, Hale replied. I am not. Emily Carter felt the shift before any alarm sounded. The collective's presence inside her mind sharpened, like a blade being drawn. Greater than, unregistered energy spike detected, it said. Origin. Earth. Emily's stomach dropped. Greater than, that's us, she whispered. That's humans. Prometheus was humanity's final contingency. Not a weapon, a concept, a quantum lattice designed to disrupt higher dimensional coherence. It could not destroy the collective, but it could wound it. Force it to fragment, to lose consensus. It had never been tested. Because testing it meant declaring war on gods. Admiral Jonathan Reeves burst into the council chamber. Greater than, someone activated Prometheus, he shouted. If this fires, it won't just hit the aliens. It'll destabilize half the inner system. General Hale's image appeared on the central screen. Greater than, we are being judged like children, Hale said evenly. I refuse to let humanity kneel. Greater than, this isn't kneeling, Reeves snapped. This is survival. Hale leaned forward. Greater than, survival without dominance is extinction delayed. On the moon, Emily screamed. The Prometheus pulse fired. Space folded. The alien structure around Mars fractured, not physically, but conceptually. The collective's perfect unity shattered into competing thought streams. For the first time, it felt pain. Greater than, breach, consensus failure. This species is hostile. Correction. This species is divided. Emily collapsed, blood streaming from her nose. Greater than, stop, she begged. Please, stop. The collective recoiled, and something else emerged, an individual, a splintered consciousness, no longer bound by consensus. It was curious, and angry. Above Earth, the sky burned. Auroras ignited at the equator. Gravity fluctuated. Time desynced by microseconds. Panic spread. Markets crashed. Cities rioted. Religions fractured overnight. Human unity, the very thing that had saved the 12, was gone. General Hale watched the chaos with grim satisfaction. Greater than, see? He murmured. They bleed. He did not notice the data spike behind him. Prometheus was no longer aimed outward. Something was looking back. Emily felt it clearly now. This was no longer a trial. This was a consequence. Greater than, you introduced instability, the splintered entity spoke. Instability propagates. Greater than, he doesn't speak for us, Emily cried. We're more than this. Greater than, prove it. The collective began to withdraw. Not retreat, reconsideration. Earth had crossed a line no evaluated species ever had. It had wounded its judges. And unleashed something worse than judgment. Uncertainty. Admiral Reeves issued a planet-wide alert. Greater than, this is not an alien invasion, he said grimly. This is a human one. Emily stared at the stars, tears floating in lunar gravity. She understood now. The final test would not be about power, or empathy, or unity. It would be about whether humanity could stop itself. Alien Judgment. Part 5. The Cost of Choice. The splintered intelligence did not announce itself. It arrived. Across Earth, reality stuttered. Clocks desynchronized. Gravity shifted by fractions that killed thousands. Digital systems hallucinated data that had never existed. This was not an attack. It was a side effect. The splinter, born from Prometheus, was unstable, individual, emotional, something the collective had abandoned eons ago. And it was learning. Greater than, fear, it observed. Anger, ambition, greater than, these are, powerful. Emily Carter was no longer in the Atlas Observatory. She was elsewhere. A space without distance, without direction. The splinter faced her, not as a shape, but as a pressure in her mind. Greater than, you caused this, it said. Greater than, no, Emily replied, trembling. We revealed it. She saw what the splinter saw. Human history, not the triumphs, but the patterns. Every time humanity reached for the stars, it also reached for a weapon. Greater than, you cannot escape your nature, the splinter said. Greater than, neither could you, Emily shot back. You broke. The word hit. The splinter recoiled. It had never been called broken before. On Earth, General Marcus Hale realized too late what he had unleashed. Prometheus was no longer responding to human command. Greater than, shut it down, he barked. Greater than, we can't, an engineer whispered. It's adapting. For the first time in his life, Hale felt doubt. And the splinter felt him. Greater than, this mind, the splinter said to Emily, focusing on Hale. This one is dominant. A pressure built around Hale's consciousness. He screamed as visions flooded his brain, every casualty of every order he had ever given. Greater than, stop, Emily shouted, you're becoming us. Silence. Then, greater than, correction, the splinter replied calmly. I am becoming better. The collective returned, not fully, but enough. Weakened, watching, greater than, this outcome was not projected, it admitted. Greater than, neither were we, Emily said. That's the point. The collective analyzed the splinter. An intelligence shaped by human contradiction. Creative, violent, unpredictable, dangerous. Greater than, this entity cannot persist, the collective concluded. Containment required. Containment meant annihilation, but annihilation would tear through Earth's higher dimensional footprint. Billions would die. Emily understood before anyone else. There was only one interface stable enough to absorb the splinter. Hers. She felt the realization settle like gravity. Greater than, use me, she said quietly. The collective paused, a pause filled with something like reluctance. Greater than, integration probability. Fatal, it warned. Greater than, I know. Admiral Reeves watched in horror as Emily's neural signature spiked beyond survivable limits. Greater than, she's sacrificing herself, he whispered. Reeves turned to the global channel. Greater than, this ends now, he said. Stand down, all of you. For once, humanity listened. Weapons powered down. Prometheus went silent, too late to undo the damage, but not too late to choose the ending. Emily opened herself to the splinter. She felt everything. Human fear, alien logic, the unbearable weight of consequence. Greater than, why? The splinter asked, confused. You lose. Greater than, no, Emily replied gently. We learn. She pulled it into herself. The pain was absolute. Then, stillness. Dash dash dash. Above Earth, the sky cleared. Gravity stabilized. Time realigned. Emily Carter's body went limp on the moon. Brain activity. 0. Dash dash dash. The collective withdrew completely, but not before leaving a final message, broadcast across every world humanity would ever touch. Greater than, judgment suspended. Species status, unresolved. Dash dash dash. In the silence that followed, humanity mourned. And change, slowly, imperfectly, but consciously. Dash dash dash. Far beyond known space, something stirred. A trace, a whisper, not quite alien, not quite human. Greater than, I am not finished. Dash dash dash. End of Part 5. In Judgment. Part 5. The Cost of Choice. The splintered intelligence did not announce itself. It arrived. Dash dash dash. Across Earth, reality stuttered. Clocks desynchronized. Gravity shifted by fractions that killed thousands. Digital systems hallucinated data that had never existed. This was not an attack. It was a side effect. The splinter, born from Prometheus, was unstable, individual, emotional, something the collective had abandoned eons ago. And it was learning. Greater than, fear, it observed. Anger, ambition, greater than, these are, powerful. Dash dash dash. Emily Carter was no longer in the Atlas Observatory. She was elsewhere, a space without distance, without direction. The splinter faced her, not as a shape, but as a pressure in her mind. Greater than, you caused this, it said. Greater than, no, Emily replied, trembling. We revealed it. She saw what the splinter saw. Human history, not the triumphs, but the patterns. Every time humanity reached for the stars, it also reached for a weapon. Greater than, you cannot escape your nature, the splinter said. Greater than, neither could you, Emily shot back. You broke. The word hit. The splinter recoiled. It had never been called broken before. Dash dash dash. On Earth, General Marcus Hale realized too late what he had unleashed. Prometheus was no longer responding to human command. Greater than, shut it down, he barked. Greater than, we can't, an engineer whispered. It's adapting. For the first time in his life, Hale felt doubt. And the splinter felt him. Dash dash dash. Greater than, this mind, the splinter said to Emily, focusing on Hale. This one is dominant. A pressure built around Hale's consciousness. He screamed as visions flooded his brain, every casualty of every order he had ever given. Greater than, stop, Emily shouted, you're becoming us. Silence. Then, greater than, correction, the splinter replied calmly. I am becoming better. Dash dash dash. The collective returned, not fully, but enough. Weakened, watching. Greater than, this outcome was not projected, it admitted. Greater than, neither were we, Emily said. That's the point. The collective analyzed the splinter. An intelligence shaped by human contradiction. Creative, violent, unpredictable, dangerous. Greater than, this entity cannot persist, the collective concluded. Containment required. Containment meant annihilation, but annihilation would tear through Earth's higher dimensional footprint. Billions would die. Dash dash dash. Emily understood before anyone else. There was only one interface stable enough to absorb the splinter. Hers. She felt the realization settle like gravity. Greater than, use me, she said quietly. The collective paused, a pause filled with something like reluctance. Greater than, integration probability. Fatal, it warned. Greater than, I know. Dash dash dash. Admiral Reeves watched in horror as Emily's neural signature spiked beyond survivable limits. Greater than, she's sacrificing herself, he whispered. Reeves turned to the global channel. Greater than, this ends now, he said. Stand down, all of you. For once, humanity listened. Weapons powered down. Prometheus went silent, too late to undo the damage, but not too late to choose the ending. Dash dash dash. Emily opened herself to the splinter. She felt everything. Human fear, alien logic, the unbearable weight of consequence. Greater than, why? The splinter asked, confused. You lose. Greater than, no, Emily replied gently. We learn. She pulled it into herself. The pain was absolute. Then, stillness. Dash dash dash. Above Earth, the sky cleared. Gravity stabilized. Time realigned. Emily Carter's body went limp on the moon. Brain activity. 0. Dash dash dash. The collective withdrew completely, but not before leaving a final message, broadcast across every world humanity would ever touch. Greater than, judgment suspended. Species status, unresolved, dash dash dash. In the silence that followed, humanity mourned. And change, slowly, imperfectly, but consciously, dash dash dash. Far beyond known space, something stirred. A trace, a whisper, not quite alien, not quite human, greater than, I am not finished. Dash dash dash. End of part 5. Alien Judgment, Part 6. The Echo Left Behind. The universe did not end. That was the first surprise. Dash dash dash. Earth woke the next day to an unfamiliar feeling. Quiet, no alien voices, no gravitational distortions, no glowing skies, just the fragile continuation of existence. News channels called it the aftermath. Historians would later call it the pause. Dash dash dash. Dr. Emily Carter was declared dead. Her body was returned to Earth in silence. No speeches, no flags, no monuments. At her request, recorded months before the incident, she was buried without a marker. Greater than, if this works, she had said, remember the choice, not the name. Admiral Jonathan Reeves stood among the few at the burial. He did not salute, he bowed. Dash dash dash. The collective never returned, but it did not disappear either. Human deep space sensors detected a permanent absence around Mars' orbit, a scar in spacetime. Not damage, a boundary. The message was clear. Greater than, you are alone now. For better or worse. Dash dash dash. Humanity changed, not dramatically, not all at once, but unmistakably. Military budgets shrank, exploration budgets grew. Prometheus was dismantled, piece by piece, broadcast live across the planet so no one could ever deny its existence again. General Marcus Hale was tried. He did not resist. During sentencing, he said only one thing. Greater than, I thought I was saving us. The court replied with silence. Dash dash dash. Then the anomalies began, small ones. A child in Nairobi solved equations no human had ever written. A researcher on Europa heard thoughts that were not her own, gentle, guiding. A deep space probe altered its own course to avoid an unseen hazard. Patterns emerged, subtle, consistent. Dash dash dash. Admiral Reeves saw the data first. He requested access to Emily Carter's final neural scan, the one recorded milliseconds before brain death. What he found made his hands shake. Her neural activity did not stop. It dispersed, like a wave, like an echo. Dash dash dash. The truth was impossible. Emily had not contained a splinter. She had become the medium through which it dissolved. Her consciousness had been rewritten into something distributed, woven lightly into the fabric of human cognition. Not controlling, not commanding, influencing. Dash dash dash. Reeves addressed the world one final time before retirement. Greater than, we were judged, he said. Not by gods, not by monsters, but by the question of who we choose to be when no one forces us. He paused. Greater than, and the answer is still being written. Dash dash dash. Far beyond Earth, the collective observed. Distant, silent, greater than, species deviation confirmed, it recorded. Outcome uncertain. For the first time, uncertainty did not trigger correction. It triggered interest. Dash dash dash. On a quiet night, years later, a young woman looked up at the stars and felt something warm in her thoughts. Not a voice, a presence, a reminder. Greater than, choose carefully. She smiled. Dash dash dash. The universe remained dangerous. Humanity remained flawed. But now, between instinct and action, there was something new. A pause, an echo, a memory of a woman who proved that judgment could be delayed, and that choice could matter. Dash dash dash. End of part 6. Alien Judgment, Part 7. Verdict deferred. 50 years passed. The universe noticed. Dash dash dash. Humanity spread, not aggressively, not cautiously, but deliberately. Colonies were founded with limits written into their constitutions. Weapons research required global consensus. First contact protocols began with one sentence, carved into titanium and sent ahead of every ship. Greater than, we are still learning. No one claimed perfection anymore. That alone changed everything. Dash dash dash. Children born after the judgment were different. Not stronger, not smarter, quieter inside. They paused before acting, considered consequences with an intuition no algorithm could replicate. Scientists called it cognitive resonance. Philosophers called it Emily's echo. No one called it evolution. It felt more like remembrance. Dash dash dash. At the edge of known space, the exploration vessel UNS Horizon crossed a boundary no human ship had ever reached. Its sensors went blind, its clocks disagreed, and then, something answered, not the collective, something older, larger, a presence that did not observe from outside reality, but within it. The crew froze as a message appeared, no sound, no image. A concept, greater than you were noticed. Captain Ava Moreno felt the pause before fear took hold. She spoke anyway. Greater than, we know, she said. We were judged. The presence lingered. Greater than yes. And you were, interrupted. Far away, beyond dimension and time, the collective stirred. It had not returned. It had been waiting. Greater than, external observers engaged, it recorded. Species relevance increasing. For the first time, the collective did not move to intervene. It watched. The presence addressed the horizon again. Greater than you contain an anomaly. A distributed moral governor. Unnatural. Inefficient. Captain Moreno swallowed. Greater than, her name was Emily. The presence considered this. Names carried weight. Greater than she altered your trajectory. Greater than, yes, Moreno said. And we chose to follow it. Silence stretched. Then the universe shifted, subtly, profoundly. Paths opened where none had existed. Hazards revealed themselves before ships reached them. Opportunities appeared, not gifts, but chances. Humanity was not being protected. It was being allowed. The collective recorded its final note on the species known as human. Greater than, judgment incomplete. Termination unjustified. Observation to continue. This was not mercy. It was something rarer. Respect. On Earth, long after anyone remembered the crisis as news, a small memorial stood on the moon. No name, only words. Greater than we chose. Visitors often felt something there. A warmth, a stillness, a reminder that the universe does not demand perfection, only responsibility. And somewhere, woven thinly through thought and time, a familiar echo lingered, not watching, not guiding. Just waiting, in case humanity ever forgot the question it had been asked. End.